So with that, we're going to have a small change, and so we're going to have Jen Wilson's talk next, but that's going to be virtual. And so Jen Wilson started as a volunteer with GLIA and then became the Director of Manufacturing and Design in 2023. In her role, she manages the design and manufacturing of GLIA's medical devices, as well as updating their GitHub repository and making the instructions for their devices as comprehensive as possible. So please give her and her talk a loud virtual high five and hand clap. And her talk is entitled the Democratization of Manufacturing. Sharing is Caring.
Hi, I'm Jen from GLIA. I'm the Director of Manufacturing and Design, and I'm here to talk to you about the democratization of manufacturing. Sharing is caring. Okay, oh my God. It's been a bit of a crazy day, but I'm going to talk to you about how GLIA connects with others around the world to empower them to make gold standard medical devices at a fraction of the cost. That is what GLIA does. And I'm going to talk about our devices. And as I talk about the devices, I will talk to you about how community is involved and how we're networking with people all over the world to help empower communities. So I'm going to talk first about the stethoscope. This is our signature device. This was the first device that GLIA manufactured. Dr. Tarek Lubani, who was working in Gaza in 2012, noticed that there were emergency room doctors that were putting their ears to people's chests. They did not have access to stethoscopes. When he was back in Canada, he saw a toy stethoscope that his nephew was using. He tried it out. He thought, oh my God, this works. And not too bad. Of course, needed improvement. So thus the GLIA stethoscope was born, 3D printed. Not the tubing though. The tubing has been acquired, and it was originally tubing that you could find in a pop dispenser. So it was always in mind to design for low resource settings, materials that could be easily found around the world. So the GLIA stethoscope was born. In 2021, we partnered with Make a Medic, which is an organization in the UK that donates things to medical students to help them. And so we distributed 200 stethoscopes to graduating med students in Kenya and Zambia. And in 2022, 60 students in Uganda got our stethoscopes as well. So this is empowering those medical students in those African countries who do not get stethoscopes. I mean, here in the West, it's easy to get stethoscopes, but they're not so much. But these work as well as the Littman Cardiology 3 stethoscopes. You can go to the glia.org website, devices page, stethoscope, and you can see a link to the +1 article that was published about that. So this stethoscope has been really a keystone in connecting people around the world to empower them. Not only have we partnered with Make a Medic to bring stethoscopes to graduating med students in African countries, we also collabed with MedLink in 2022, which is where med students connect with Indigenous youth to try and get them excited about health education, to see if they want to get involved in health education. So a couple of med students at Western connected with me. They went up to a camp up north where there were Indigenous students, and they all got our stethoscope, and I helped them assemble it, and they all got very excited about it. And hopefully, it inspires some of those kids. Certainly in medical education, the medical sphere, there are many, many ways that you can go. One of them is in engineering medical devices. So hopefully some of them got inspired. In 2022, we also had one of our largest stethoscope distributions to universities in Southern Ontario. We distributed 600 stethoscopes with the help of students from Western, from U Ottawa, and from U of T. And U of T has really picked up the ball, and they started their own stethoscope distribution. They get funded by the school to distribute a certain amount of stethoscopes to first-year medical students. They print the 3D parts at the Apple Lab at U of T, which is the, oh my God, what is it called? Hang on one second. The Advanced Perioperative Imaging Lab. My God, sorry. That is a lab at U of T where they scan internal organs and 3D print them. So our students at U of T 3D print these, they bring them back to London, and we assemble them in London so that it's under the MDEL, which is the Medical Device Establishment License. It is equivalent to the FDA. There are 4 main licensing bodies in the world: the FDA for US, MDEL for Canada, there's an EU licensing body and an Australian licensing body, and they usually cover the whole world because those are the richest nations in the world and they can afford to have licensing bodies. But most of the world knows that if it is manufactured under one of those licenses, it is a gold standard product. So in order for a device to be under an MDEL, which means that it is able to be used clinically in Canada, the U of T students have to bring those parts back to London because the MDEL license is specific to the manufacturing location, not necessarily to the device. So yeah, that's another way that we've empowered the community by bringing in med students from Ontario, having them share our work with first-year med students and get them excited about, what's possible in the medical system. So a couple of really amazing stories about the stethoscope. There's a doctor in Hawaii, Brett Carey. He's an orthopedic surgeon, or maybe not a surgeon. He's an orthopedic doctor who does 3D printed hand splints. He also teaches kids. And a lot of these kids come from low resource settings near Hawaii, like the Marshall Islands, the Republic of Palau, and the Micronesia area. And so when he's teaching these kids, he finds that they often feel kind of guilty for leaving their communities. They want to give back somehow. So when he has them print and assemble our stethoscope and then test it against cheaper stethoscopes on the market, and they find out how well they work, they feel like they can send back this device that they've made back to their communities, and it will help their communities. So it gives those kids an incredible self-reassurance that they're doing good work and giving back to their communities. Also in 2023, we partnered with a Boy Scout troop in New Jersey to print stethoscopes. They partnered with Rutgers U Makerspace, and they made stethoscopes for Doctors Without Borders and for the Ukraine. So again, this is all about connection. This is about connecting with communities and getting them to feel empowered, like they're giving back, like they can help the world in some way. And because our devices are free, open source, online, on our GitHub repository, anybody can do this. So they feel empowered to make a device that works as well as it does, and to give back to the world in some way. So a very obvious way that we connect with people are right in our community in London. There are a lot of people who are Arabic that are of the diaspora who feel very helpless about what's going on in that part of the world where they come from. They want to give back, they want to help. I bring them into the lab. I get their hands into the projects. So one of the biggest projects that we've been doing is the Tourniquet project. When I came on board with GLIA, this was the project that I was mainly involved in. This is a device that was created in 2018 during the Great March of Return. Tarek Lubani and our team in Gaza, Dr. Alatar, Hanan, and Badr, helped develop this device on the battlefield in Gaza. It is a really interesting device in the sense that it is being used under not ideal conditions where you're panicked, where there's chaos, there's blood, and you need to be able to work this device properly. So because it was tested on the battlefield, we believe that it is an effective device. So when the Gaza war started in 2023, we redirected some funds from a project that was already going, which was now no longer able to go. We redirected those funds to make tourniquets in Canada for Gaza. They were usually only made in Gaza. And so I've been a part of this project to create 2,000 tourniquets to get to Gaza. We've sent over just a little over 500 so far, and the rest we're going to get them in when we can, as soon as possible. But the Canada office started making the tourniquet for the Ukraine war, actually. So that brought in a couple of volunteers that are key in this project right now. So again, connecting communities around the world. Adam Papanda got a whiff of this project probably from online, seeing a free and open source tourniquet. He came on board as a volunteer wanting to get involved in making tourniquets for Ukraine. He is now the director of the Poland office. Victoria Jacqua from Open Source Medical Supplies from the US came on board. She now runs this project. And both of them are really, really key to us. Victoria connected us with an open source lab in the US, Public Invention, and they funded open source tabletop injection mold for Poland to make injection molded tourniquets, because when we started making the 3D printed tourniquets for the Ukraine war, we realized very quickly that they were not accepting 3D printed tourniquets. The reason why is because they were getting sent 3D printed tourniquets from all over the world, and they were not quality. Funnily enough, Tarek was going to Gaza just after that war started and couldn't get in, and so he diverted to Ukraine and went and saw one of the tourniquet testing centers. So it was very interesting information that he gathered. So Adam started making injection molded tourniquets with an open source tabletop injection mold that was funded by Public Invention. That connection was made through Victoria Jacqua. Again, this is all what I'm talking about. We are connecting around the world. We are sharing information because we're open, we're transparent, and we want to learn, we want to make things better. That is sort of like the open source philosophy of the world, is to do that. So yeah, that is an example of how that is all working. Another couple of examples are that Victoria also connected us with an open source engineering lab right in our city, the FAST Lab, which is what does FAST Lab stand for? Hang on. Oh my God, all these acronyms. It stands for Free and Appropriate Sustainable Technology. It's an open source lab at Western University run by Dr. Joshua Pierce. And she connected us with him, and so a tourniquet tester was born. This is a device that does not exist in the world other than behind paywalls, proprietary tourniquet testers for big corporations that make a lot of profits off of tourniquets that they sell. So as an open source company, we want to do everything open, so we partnered with their lab. They made an open source tourniquet tester, first one in the world. I was approached by some high school students who do robotics in San Diego. They wanted to help GLIA in some way. I think they wanted to help with tourniquets. The thing is, we don't usually have people from not in Glia 3D print stuff for us, because then it's not under our MDL license, and everything that Glia produces and sells or donates has to be under that MDL license. So instead I had them make a tourniquet tester. And so now there's another one out in the world, and they have tested it. They have gone through the assembly instructions that were given from the FAST Lab. They have found some errors in those instructions. They want to improve the coding for the electronics. And so this is all, again, a part of connecting and empowering everybody, empowering the students to make something that's really cool and that works, and then to give us feedback to improve the assembly instructions so that that open source information can be improved for anybody in the world who wants to make a tourniquet tester. So again, another example. Recently, I was approached by some more high school students in California. Actually, they're really inspired to do things. So there's a group in San Jose that wanted to help us, and they wanted to help with prosthetics. So I don't have any prosthetics to show you. We partnered, we had a grant through the Frugal Biomedical Innovation Group at Western University to work with a university in Ethiopia called, oh my God, what is the name of it? Bahir Dar University in Ethiopia, to make upper limb prosthetics. So a couple of guys there have been 3D printing them and gathering all the information on the printing specs, and then getting volunteers and how it's fitted and how it works in the community, how it's accepted in the community. These are all the things that they're learning. And so these kids wanted to be involved in prosthetics. So the one thing that I had them do is design a model, and they're going to print it in TPU, which is a flexible 3D printed plastic, which is sort of like a precursor to prosthetics. It's an elastic that goes around your hand so that you can hold various implements for people that do not have grip. So, you know, again, there's always room for people to come and help, you know, give their input, to try things out, to feel like they're helping the world in some way. And just through the connection and the community, I think that is how that all works. Let me just go back up here. There has been a 3D printed walker that was developed by the FAST Lab at Western University that we're working on right now to help out with our Gaza office. They have made a prototype. I'm helping them with that in terms of assembly instructions. That's really my role at Glia, is to manufacture the devices, assemble the devices, but also gather all that information together and make it as comprehensive as possible so that people can understand it and so that it's easy to follow for anybody in the world. So we, you know, worked on the tourniquet assembly instructions. It's a pretty intricate device in terms of sewing. And, you know, it's been translated into, I think, 5 different languages so that people all over the world can make this. Another device is our otoscope. We had some students at Trent University in Ontario do a tabletop study against the Welch Allen otoscope. We're working on a paper right now with the FAST Lab to have that published. And we found out some things. So because Tarek is an emergency room doctor, he used one of our stethoscopes and said, it's not bright enough, just from experience. And so we changed the 10 ohm resistor to a 2.7 ohm resistor. He also found out that a colored head actually changes the color and messes with the optics. So we painted it black inside, and now we're exclusively printing black heads for the stethoscope because of that. And again, it's all about being transparent, being open, accepting information that can improve the device. That is what open source is all about. And yeah. Community-wise, we had a renal physician develop this little device, which is called a kidney cap. This is for people that are on kidney dialysis who have an arterial fistula, which is a hole where the dialysis machine plugs in. Sometimes it can rupture and can cause death. So this is just a very simple device that people can keep with them. If they get a rupture, they can use it, press it, and it stops the bleeding so that they can go get emergency help. It was 3D printed in Canada because we have an open source injection mold now in Poland. We are now injection molding them, which just means we can create more of them for a better cost. And yeah, this is one of a kind device. You know, again, empowering people to, you know, see where there might be a gap in the medical system and where we might be able to fill it. Gaza, our team there, they are still working 3D printers with solar panels, even in the chaos of the genocide right now. Before that genocide, they were running Stop the Bleed campaigns. We did have a goal to get a tourniquet in to every hospital, ambulance, and then every mosque and school, and then eventually every home. So that's a project that will continue when things calm down. During COVID, our Gaza team also acquired a $20,000 grant to distribute 3D printed face shields. So with that money, they also were able to get 10 Prusa printers and solar panels. And so, again, empowering a group. I gotta say though, based on the fact that we work in Gaza, we have a working team in Gaza, we are very enmeshed in the Muslim society in a way. All those people in our community that want to help out, that are donating or they want to help in some way, we're connecting with them. We're giving them hope. We're inspiring them to help in whatever way that they can. So I know I didn't follow my slideshow. You guys can see the slides. You can see how we manufacture stuff, mostly 3D printing. We do have injection molding now. The injection molds are made via CNC. I think there was some laser cutting, but that was maybe before my time with the face shields. We use as many types of low-cost manufacturing as we can. And, you know, as the cost comes down, it just becomes more accessible. The accessibility, though, in my mind, is not necessarily the cost of the tools or, you know, the materials that we use, that we try to make them as accessible as possible. It's the information, you know, having the information open and free online for anyone to use, comment on, share, and improve. That really is our biggest asset. It is the thing that we really do create. We create the devices, but we create also this open source community that is connecting with all of these other communities around the world. When you go online and you see Meet the Team, you can see that we have the Canada office, we have the Gaza office, we have the Poland office. We don't have a US office, but we work with so many people in the US helping us get FDA approval for the tourniquet. I mean, we're working on it. You know, there is a place in the States, DMDM, that has acquired that, I believe, and FDA approval for the kidney cap. Working with high school students, you know, that just want to do something. They just want to feel empowered. They just want to feel like they can give back and help. So we accept all help. And I think that makes GLIA what it is. And so this is how manufacturing is getting democratized. The price of the tools is coming down. People are connecting information is getting shared. There are no paywalls. There are no proprietary boundaries. We really are all in this together. I did believe that when COVID happened and people were saying that. I know that that didn't really bloom into the rest of society, but it is true. It is true, and we take that to heart. We are all here as humans to help each other. You can see how equality does not equal equity. Equality is giving everybody the same thing. We're not about that. We're about equity, where we're giving what people need to bring them up to the same level. So here in the West, we're rich, we're privileged, we have everything that we need. But there are so many places in the world that are low resource that need more help, and we are here to do that. Another real great success story that I forgot to tell you about is Eric Lamery. He is amazing. He retired on a houseboat in Guatemala. He had a 3D printer. He saw a need in that community. He found our stethoscope online, free, open source. He started printing it. He's putting together medical kits now that include our stethoscope for these very rural medical clinics in Guatemala that have next to nothing. They have some bandages and some painkillers maybe. Not only is he printing our stethoscope for medical kits, he's doing prosthetics, upper limb prosthetics for these rural Guatemalans. And he just decided to do that on his own. He's connecting with the community. He's getting community buy-in by connecting with these people. I think that he also distributed our stethoscopes to some of the ambulances in his town, wherever he is in Guatemala. It's very rural. But yeah, another success story, another connection, and we have embraced him into our team. That's what it's all about. That's the democratization right there. People like Eric, people like Dr. Carey, people like Dr. Pierce, people who are connecting and sharing information to improve the world, really, with medical equipment that people need. We're making them gold standard. These are working as well as their counterparts. We are doing the research. We're getting the papers published. And yeah, I hope that you are all inspired as well to continue doing the work that you're doing. I'm inspired by this whole group and this conference, and unfortunately I couldn't be there due to weather. But yeah, I hope that everyone is inspired to continue working openly and sharing information and improving the devices that are being manufactured in order to bring the whole world up to a level where everybody has what they need, where healthcare is accessible and it's not only for the privileged or only for the rich. No way. We are all in this together. So thank you for listening to me. I think we're getting very close to the 30 minutes. Thank you very much for inviting me to the conference. I am grateful. I'm very privileged to be able to be a part of it. And yeah, I hope you liked what I had to say. So thanks everyone.